Get out, you black gold digger! You'll never see a penny of my brother's money!" Victoria had screamed 7 years ago, throwing Destiny's clothes on the lawn. Today, the sealed will reading. The family sat smugly around the lawyer's table, $4.7 billion at stake. Victoria already had her speech ready. The lawyer cleared his throat. "Everything goes to Mrs. Destiny Williams and her children." Silence. "What children?" The door opened. 3 children in private school uniforms walked in. They had the dead billionaire's eyes, his nose, his smile. "Meet the sole heirs," Destiny said. Victoria's $200,000 facelift couldn't hide her horror. But before we dive into the full story, let me know where you're watching from and what time it is. Now, subscribe to the channel and let's get started. "James, wake up! Please, wake up!" The maid stood in the doorway of the office, her phone shaking in her hand. She had just called the emergency number. On the floor, James Williams lay completely still. His face was gray, his eyes were closed, his hand was pressed against his chest. This was 7 years ago in Greenwich, Connecticut. James Williams was 42 years old. He was a billionaire. He made his money from technology companies and buying buildings. He lived in a huge mansion with his wife, Destiny. They had been married for 2 years. That morning started like every other morning. James woke up at 6. He kissed Destiny while she was still sleeping. He went downstairs to his office. He drank coffee. He looked at emails on his computer. On his desk was a photo of Destiny. In the photo, she was smiling. James looked at that photo every morning. But today was different. At 7:30, James felt pain in his chest. The pain was sharp and strong. He stood up. He tried to walk to the door. He could not breathe. He fell to the floor. The maid found him at 7:45. She screamed. She called 911. Then she called Destiny. Destiny was upstairs in the bedroom. She heard her phone ring. She picked it up. "Mrs. Williams, something is wrong. Mr. Williams fell down. He is not moving." Destiny ran downstairs. She saw James on the floor. She dropped to her knees next to him. "James! James! Look at me!" He did not open his eyes. The ambulance arrived 10 minutes later. The paramedics worked on James for 20 minutes. Then they put him on a stretcher. Destiny rode in the ambulance with him. She held his hand. His hand was cold. At the hospital, doctors took James into the emergency room. Destiny waited outside. She sat in a plastic chair. Her whole body was shaking. A nurse brought her water. She could not drink it. After 1 hour, a doctor came out. His face was serious. "Mrs. Williams, I am very sorry. Your husband had a massive heart attack. We did everything we could. He died at 8:52 this morning." Destiny stared at this doctor. She did not speak. She could not speak. The doctor said more words, but Destiny did not hear them. Everything sounded far away. James was dead. The funeral happened 3 days later. It was at a large church in Greenwich. Hundreds of people came. James was famous. He was important. Business people came. Politicians came. People from his company came. The Williams family sat in the front row. Victoria Williams was James's older sister. She was 50 years old. She had cold blue eyes and blonde hair. Next to her sat her 2 sons, Richard and Edward. Behind them sat other family members, James's cousin Margaret and his uncle Donald. Destiny sat alone on the other side of the aisle. She wore a simple black dress. Her eyes were red from crying. She looked at the coffin at the front of the church. During the service, Victoria did not look at Destiny once. Richard and Edward whispered to each other and ignored her. Margaret checked her phone. Donald fell asleep. After the service, everyone went to the cemetery. People stood around the grave. The priest said prayers. Workers lowered the coffin into the ground. Destiny stood by herself. No one from the Williams family stood near her. No one spoke to her. No one touched her shoulder or held her hand. She was completely alone. People started leaving. Cars drove away. Soon, only Destiny remained. She stood looking at the fresh dirt. She whispered, "James, what do I do now?" No one answered. Destiny went back to the mansion. The house was empty and quiet. She walked through the halls. Everything reminded her of James. His jacket on the chair, his books on the shelf, his smell in the bedroom. She went into their bedroom and sat on the bed. She opened the drawer next to the bed. Inside was a small white stick, a pregnancy test. It had 2 pink lines on it. Destiny had taken the test 1 week before James died. She went to the doctor the next day. The doctor did an ultrasound. The doctor smiled and said, "Mrs. Williams, you are pregnant with triplets, 3 babies." Destiny was shocked and happy. She planned to tell James that night. She wanted to surprise him with dinner and the news, but James died before she could tell him. Now she sat alone, holding the pregnancy test. She was 2 months pregnant. James never knew. His family never knew. She put her hand on her stomach. There was no bump yet, but 3 babies were growing inside. She cried until she had no more tears. The next morning, Destiny woke up to loud voices downstairs. She walked to the top of the stairs. In the front hall stood Victoria. Next to Victoria were 3 men in suits. They were lawyers. Behind them stood 2 large men in uniforms, security guards. Victoria looked up and saw Destiny. "There you are," Victoria said. Her voice was cold and sharp. "Come down here." Destiny walked down the stairs slowly. She wore a robe and slippers. Her hair was not brushed. "What is happening?" Destiny asked. Victoria crossed her arms. "You need to leave this house. Today. Now." Destiny stared at her. "What are you talking about?" "This house belongs to the Williams family. You do not belong here. You never did." One of the lawyers stepped forward. He held papers. "Mrs. Williams, the estate is under review. Until the will is processed, this property is controlled by the family trust. You are required to vacate the premises." "But James was my husband," Destiny said. Her voice shook. "This is my home." Victoria laughed. It was not a kind laugh. "Your home? You were married to my brother for 2 years. 2 years! You are nothing but a gold digger. You married him for his money. Everyone knows it." "That is not true," Destiny said. Tears filled her eyes. "I loved James." "You loved his bank account," Victoria said. She turned to the staff members who were standing nearby, watching. "Pack her things. Use garbage bags. She does not deserve suitcases." "Victoria, please," Destiny said. "Just give me time. I have nowhere to go." "That is not my problem," Victoria said. "You have 1 hour." The maids looked uncomfortable, but they did what Victoria ordered. They went upstairs and started packing Destiny's clothes. They used black garbage bags. Destiny stood in the hall, shaking. She wanted to fight. She wanted to scream. But she was too tired, too heartbroken, too scared. She went upstairs and packed 2 suitcases herself. She took her clothes, her toothbrush, her photos of James. That was all. She did not take jewelry. She did not take anything expensive. She just wanted to leave. She checked her bank account on her phone. She had $1,700. That was her personal money from before she married James. Everything else was in James's accounts. 1 hour later, Destiny stood in the front hall. She held 2 suitcases. Her hands were shaking. Victoria stood by the door with her arms crossed. "Goodbye, Destiny," Victoria said. "Do not come back. Do not contact this family. You are not welcome here." Destiny looked at Victoria. Tears ran down her face, but she did not speak. There was nothing to say. She walked out the front door. A taxi was waiting. The driver put her suitcases in the trunk. Destiny got in the back seat. "Where to?" the driver asked. "New York City," Destiny whispered. "The Bronx." The taxi started driving. Destiny looked back at the mansion through the rear window. The big white house got smaller and smaller. Victoria stood in the doorway, watching. Destiny put her hand on her stomach. She could not feel the babies yet, but she knew they were there. 3 tiny lives growing inside her. James's children. Children he would never meet. She closed her eyes. Fresh tears came. She whispered to the babies, "I will protect you, no matter what." The taxi drove away from Greenwich, away from the mansion, away from the Williams family. Destiny had no family, no money, no home. But she had 3 reasons to survive. The taxi stopped in front of a building in the Bronx. The building was old and gray. Paint was falling off the walls. Trash was on the sidewalk. Destiny paid the driver $38. He took her suitcases out of the trunk and drove away fast. Destiny stood on the sidewalk alone. It was getting dark. She heard loud music from an apartment window. She heard people yelling. She heard a siren far away. She picked up her suitcases and walked into the building. There was no doorman. The front door was broken. Inside, the hallway smelled bad. The light on the ceiling was flickering. Destiny had found this apartment online 2 days ago. The rent was $800 per month. It was the cheapest one she could find. The landlord told her to pick up the keys from apartment 1, and she knocked on the door of apartment 1. An old woman opened it. She was short and thin with gray hair. "Are you Destiny?" the woman asked. "Yes." The woman handed her a key. "Apartment 12, 3rd floor, no elevator." "Thank you," Destiny said. She climbed the stairs. Her suitcases were heavy. By the time she reached the 3rd floor, she was breathing hard. She found apartment 12 and unlocked the door. The apartment was tiny. 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom. A small kitchen with old appliances. The walls were dirty white with cracks. The floor was scratched. There was a smell of mold. Destiny walked into the empty bedroom. No bed, no furniture, nothing. She put her suitcases down. She sat on the floor. She looked around at the peeling paint and the stained carpet. She started crying. She cried for James. She cried for the mansion she lost. She cried for the life she thought she would have. She cried until her head hurt. Then she stopped. She wiped her face. She put her hand on her stomach. "I cannot cry forever," she whispered. "You need me to be strong." That night, she slept on the floor. She used her jacket as a pillow. The floor was hard and cold. She barely slept. The next morning, Destiny woke up at 6. Her back hurt. She was hungry. She went to the bathroom. The mirror was cracked. She looked at herself. Her eyes were swollen from crying. Her hair was messy. She looked tired and sad. She washed her face. She changed her clothes. She counted her money. $1,700. She had to make it last. She walked to a thrift store 6 blocks away. The store smelled like old clothes and dust. She walked through the aisles looking at used furniture. She found a mattress for $80. It had a small stain, but it was clean enough. She found 2 sheets for $10. She found a small table for $20 and 2 chairs for $15. She found a lamp for $5. She found plates, cups, and forks for $12. The man at the counter was older, with a beard. "You need delivery?" he asked. "How much does that cost?" Destiny asked. $50. Destiny counted her money in her head. She needed to save as much as possible. "Can I borrow a cart? I can push it myself." The man looked at her. "You pregnant?" "Yes." "How many months?" "2 months." He sighed. "I will deliver it for $20. You should not push heavy things." "Thank you," Destiny said. She almost cried again because of his kindness. She gave him her address. She paid $152 total. She walked back to the apartment. The delivery truck came 1 hour later. The man and his son carried everything upstairs. They were kind and did not ask questions. When they left, Destiny made the bed. She sat at the small table. She had furniture now. It was not much, but it was something. She opened her laptop. She needed a job immediately. She applied to 10 different places online. Stores, restaurants, offices. She applied to everything. 3 days passed. Only one place called her back. A dentist office needed a receptionist. Part-time, $9 per hour. Destiny went to the interview. The dentist was a middle-aged man named Dr. Shah. "Do you have experience answering phones?" he asked. "Yes," Destiny said. It was partly true. She had answered phones at her old job before she met James. "Can you start Monday?" "Yes." "You will work Monday through Friday, 9 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon. Is that okay?" "Yes. Thank you." Destiny left the office and cried on the bus ride home. She had a job. It was not much money, but it was something. But one job was not enough. She needed more. She applied to a cleaning company. They hired her immediately. She would clean office buildings at night. 10 at night to 6 in the morning, $12 per hour. She also signed up for online data entry work. She could do it on weekends from home, $8 per hour. Her life became work and sleep. Nothing else. She worked at the dentist office during the day. She came home and slept for 3 hours. She woke up and worked cleaning offices all night. On weekends, she did data entry. Her pregnancy got harder. Every morning she felt sick. She threw up in the bathroom. She was tired all the time. Her body hurt. But she could not stop working. She needed money for the babies. At 3 months pregnant, she went to a free health clinic. She could not afford a regular doctor. The clinic was crowded and loud. She waited for 2 hours. Finally, a doctor called her name. The doctor was a young woman named Dr. Martinez. "First pregnancy?" Dr. Martinez asked. "Yes." Dr. Martinez did an ultrasound. She moved the instrument over Destiny's stomach. She looked at the screen. Her eyes got wide. "Mrs. Williams, are you aware you are having multiples?" Destiny's heart started beating fast. "What do you mean?" "You are having 3 babies. Triplets." Destiny stared at the screen. She could see 3 tiny shapes. 3 babies. 3 lives. "Are they healthy?" Destiny whispered. "Right now, yes. But you need to rest more. You are working too much. I can see it. You look exhausted." "I have to work. I have no choice." Dr. Martinez looked at her with kind eyes. "Do you have family? Support?" "No, I am alone. There are programs that can help you, food assistance, housing help. I will manage," Destiny said. She did not want charity. She wanted to survive on her own. Months passed. Her stomach grew bigger and bigger. By 6 months, she could barely move. She could not hide her pregnancy anymore. Dr. Shah at the dentist office noticed. "Destiny, when is your baby due?" he asked one day. "In 3 months. You should take leave, rest at home." "I need to work." He looked at her with concern but said nothing more. At the cleaning company, her supervisor also noticed. Her supervisor was a woman named Linda. She was tough but fair. "Girl, you are huge. When are you due?" "Soon. You need to stop working nights. This is dangerous." I need the money. Linda shook her head. You are stubborn. Be careful. Destiny kept working. She had no choice. At 8 months pregnant, her body finally gave up. She was cleaning an office bathroom when the pain started. Sharp pain in her stomach. She grabbed the sink. No, not yet. Please, not yet. But the pain came again. Stronger. She looked down. Water ran down her legs. Her water broke. She called 911. She sat on the bathroom floor and waited. She was scared. She was alone. The ambulance came 20 minutes later. Paramedics helped her onto a stretcher. Do you have someone we can call? One paramedic asked. No, I am alone. They took her to Bronx General Hospital. The hospital was busy and loud. Nurses rushed everywhere. Destiny was taken to a delivery room. The pain was terrible. Hours passed. She screamed. She cried. She pushed. Finally, at 4:30 in the morning, the first baby came. A girl, tiny and crying. The nurse cleaned her and placed her on Destiny's chest. It is a girl, the nurse said. Destiny looked at her daughter. She had smooth brown skin and thick black hair. She was beautiful. Grace, Destiny whispered. Your name is Grace. 10 minutes later, the second baby came. Another girl, also tiny and crying. Another girl, the nurse said. Destiny touched her face gently. Hope. Your name is Hope. 7 minutes later, the third baby came. A boy. He was bigger than his sisters. He did not cry immediately. He opened his eyes and looked around. The nurse cleaned him and gave him to Destiny. Destiny looked at his face and gasped. He looked exactly like James. Exactly. The same green eyes, the same thick eyebrows, the same serious expression. It was like looking at James as a baby. Tears ran down Destiny's face. James, she whispered. Your name is James. James Jr. The nurse smiled. 3 beautiful babies. You are very blessed. Destiny held James Jr. close. She looked at Grace and Hope in the small bassinets next to her bed. 3 babies. 3 pieces of James. 3 reasons to keep fighting. Your daddy loved you, she whispered. He never met you, but he loved you. 3 days later, the hospital discharged her. She had no car. She took the bus home. She carried all 3 babies in a donated stroller a nurse gave her. People on the bus stared. No one offered to help. She walked into her tiny apartment. She had no cribs. She opened the drawers of the dresser and lined them with blankets. She made 3 small beds. She placed each baby in a drawer. They were so tiny, so helpless, so completely dependent on her. Destiny sat on the floor next to them. She had lost 2 of her jobs because she missed work for the birth. Now she only had the online data entry work. She had $43 left. She looked at her 3 sleeping babies and made a promise. You will never know you were not wanted by his family because you are everything to me. The first night, all 3 babies cried at the same time. Destiny woke up at midnight, then at 2 in the morning, then at 4. She fed them one by one. She changed their diapers. She rocked them back to sleep. Then they cried again. By morning, Destiny had slept only 1 hour. Her body hurt from giving birth. Her breasts hurt from feeding. Her head hurt from exhaustion. But the babies needed her. She had no money for formula, so she breastfed all 3. This took hours every day. As soon as she finished feeding 1 baby, another was hungry. The apartment was too small. When 1 baby cried, it woke up the other 2. Then all 3 cried together. The neighbors banged on the walls. Keep those babies quiet, a man yelled from the next apartment. Destiny wanted to yell back, but she was too tired. She just cried while the babies cried. 2 weeks passed. Destiny had no money left. She applied for government assistance, food stamps, a small welfare check. It was not much, but it kept them alive. She bought cheap diapers and baby food. She bought bread and peanut butter for herself. She stopped buying anything that was not absolutely necessary. One morning, there was a knock on her door. Destiny opened it. An elderly Chinese woman stood there. She looked about 70 years old. She had kind eyes. "I am Mrs. Chen from apartment 8, the woman said. "I hear your baby's crying every day. You need help?" Destiny was so tired she almost collapsed. "I need help, but I have no money to pay anyone." Mrs. Chen waved her hand. "I do not need much money. I am retired. My husband died. I am lonely. I can watch babies during the day. You pay me $50 per week." $50 per week was very cheap. Destiny knew this. "Are you sure?" "Yes. Babies need someone to watch them. You need to work. I need something to do. We help each other." Destiny started crying. "Thank you. Thank you so much." Mrs. Chen smiled. "Bring babies to me tomorrow morning." The next day, Destiny brought Grace, Hope, and James Jr. to Mrs. Chen's apartment. Mrs. Chen's apartment was small but clean and warm. She had set up a safe area for the babies with blankets and pillows. "You go work now," Mrs. Chen said. "I take care of them." Destiny was afraid to leave her babies, but she had no choice. She needed money desperately. She found a new job at a cleaning company downtown. The pay was better than before. $13 per hour. She worked 8 hours per day, 5 days per week. Every day, she dropped the babies at Mrs. Chen's apartment at 7 in the morning. She took the bus to work. She cleaned office buildings, bathrooms, and kitchens. She came home at 6 in the evening, picked up the babies, and took care of them all night. Life was extremely hard, but slowly it got better. After 1 year, Destiny was promoted to supervisor at the cleaning company. Her pay went up to $17 per hour. After 2 years, she became manager. Her pay went up to $22 per hour. The babies grew into toddlers. Grace walked first at 10 months old. She was serious and quiet. She watched everything carefully. She did not cry much. She seemed to understand that her mother was tired and needed help. Hope walked at 11 months old. She was loud and happy. She laughed all the time. She babbled constantly. She made Mrs. Chen smile every day. James Jr. walked at 1 year old. He was the biggest of the three. He had thick black hair and bright green eyes. He looked more like James Williams every day. Sometimes Destiny stared at him and felt her heart break, because he reminded her so much of her dead husband. When the children turned 3 years old, Destiny started her own cleaning company. She saved money for 2 years to do this. She called it Bright Future Cleaning Services. She hired 3 employees. She bought a used van. She painted the company name on the side. Business was slow at first, but Destiny worked hard. She was professional and reliable. Her clients liked her. They recommended her to other people. After 1 year, she had 10 employees. After 2 years, she had 20. Money was still tight, but it was better. Destiny moved to a slightly bigger apartment in the same building. This apartment had 2 bedrooms. The children shared 1 bedroom with bunk beds. Destiny had her own small bedroom. The children grew fast. Grace became even more serious. At 4 years old, she helped her mother dress Hope and James Jr. She picked up toys without being asked. She never complained. One day, Destiny was folding laundry. Grace came over and started helping. "Mama, I can help," Grace said. "I am not too young." Destiny looked at her daughter. Grace was only 4 years old, but she acted much older. "Thank you, baby. You are a good helper," Grace smiled. It was rare to see her smile. "I want to make you proud, Mama." Hope was the opposite. She talked to everyone. She made friends with all the neighbors, and she knocked on doors and introduced herself. "Hi, my name is Hope. I am 4 years old. Do you want to be my friend?" Most neighbors found her charming. Mrs. Chen called her Little Sunshine. James Jr. was different from both his sisters. He was quiet like Grace, but not as serious. He was curious. He asked questions constantly. "Mama, why is the sky blue?" "Mama, how do cars work?" "Mama, where is my daddy?" That last question always hurt. Destiny kept a small photo of James Williams in a frame on the kitchen table. The children looked at it often. One night, James Jr. was 5 years old. He picked up the photo and stared at it for a long time. "Mama, do I look like my daddy?" he asked. Destiny knelt down next to him. "Yes, baby, you look exactly like him." "Why did he die?" "His heart stopped working. He got sick very fast. He did not suffer." "Did he know about us?" Destiny's eyes filled with tears. "No, you were in my stomach when he died. I never got to tell him, but I know he would have loved you very much." James Jr. touched the photo gently. "I wish I met him." "Me too, baby. Me too." When the children turned 6 years old, Destiny enrolled them in public school, PS 47 in the Bronx. It was not the best school, but it was decent. The teachers were kind. The building was old but clean. On the first day of school, Destiny walked all 3 children to class. Grace held her hand tightly. Hope skipped ahead, excited. James Jr. walked quietly, watching everything. The teacher was a young woman named Miss Rodriguez. She smiled at the children. "Welcome to first grade. Let me guess, you 3 are siblings?" "We are triplets," Hope said loudly. "I am Hope. This is Grace. This is James Jr. We are all 6 years old." Miss Rodriguez looked impressed. "Triplets! How wonderful! Please find seats." The children did well in school. Grace got perfect grades. She loved reading. She finished books in one day. Hope joined every activity. Art class, music class, gym class. She loved being around other children. James Jr. was the best at math. He could add and subtract faster than any other student. Teachers said he was gifted. Every weekend, Destiny took the children to the public library. They each picked out 5 books. They carried them home together. At night, Destiny read to them before bed. Life was hard, but they were surviving. Destiny made sure the children had food, clean clothes, and love. She taught them to be respectful. She taught them to be kind. She never spoke badly about the Williams family, even though they had hurt her deeply. Years passed. The children grew taller and smarter. Destiny's cleaning company continued growing. She was making enough money to pay rent, buy groceries, and save a little bit each month. Then, one day, everything changed. Destiny was at home on a Saturday afternoon. The children were at the library with the Mrs. Chen. Destiny was doing paperwork for her company when the mailman knocked on the door. "Package for Destiny Williams. Signature required." Destiny signed for it. It was a large envelope from a law firm in Manhattan. The return address said, Morgan & Associates, 5th Avenue, New York. Destiny opened the envelope carefully. Inside was a letter on expensive paper. She read it slowly. "Dear Mrs. Destiny Williams, this letter is to inform you that 7 years have passed since the death of James Williams. Under Connecticut state law, his last will and testament was sealed for a period of 7 years. That period has now concluded. You are required to attend a reading of the will on Monday, April 15th, at 10 o'clock in the morning at our offices. Failure to attend may result in forfeiture of any inheritance. Please confirm your attendance. Sincerely, Harold Morgan, attorney at law. Destiny read the letter 3 times. Her hands were shaking. She did not understand. She thought Victoria and the Williams family had taken everything 7 years ago. Why was she being called to a will reading now? She picked up her phone. She scrolled through her contacts and found Ruth Chen. Ruth was Mrs. Chen's niece. She was a lawyer who helped Destiny with paperwork when she started her cleaning company. Ruth charged low fees because she believed in helping people. Destiny called her. "Ruth, this is Destiny Williams. I need your help. Something is happening, and I do not understand what." Ruth Chen agreed to meet Destiny the next morning. They met at a small coffee shop in Chinatown. Ruth was 32 years old with short black hair and glasses. She wore a professional suit and carried a briefcase. Destiny arrived with the letter. She looked tired and worried. She sat down across from Ruth and slid the envelope across the table. "Read this," Destiny said. "I do not understand what it means." Ruth took out the letter and read it carefully. Her eyebrows went up. She read it again. "This is very unusual," Ruth said. "What does it mean? I thought the Williams family took everything 7 years ago. Why am I being called now?" Ruth put the letter down. "Let me explain. Sometimes wealthy people create wills that are sealed for a specific period of time, usually 7 years or 10 years. They do this to avoid immediate fighting among family members. The will is locked away and cannot be opened until the time period ends." So James had a sealed will? It appears so. And now the 7 years are over. The law firm is required to read the will to all named beneficiaries. "But Victoria told me the house and everything belong to the family trust." Ruth shook her head. "She may have lied to you, or she may have controlled other assets that were separate from the will. Either way, you are legally required to attend this reading. If you do not go, you could lose any inheritance James left you." Destiny's heart was beating fast. "Do you think he left me something?" "I do not know, but you need to attend and find out." Destiny was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "I do not want to see Victoria again. She was cruel to me. She threw me out when I had nothing." "I understand. But this is not about her. This is about what your husband wanted. You owe it to yourself and your children to attend." Destiny looked up. "My children. Should I tell them?" "Tell me about your children," Ruth said. "James did not know about them, correct?" "Correct. I found out I was pregnant 1 week before he died. I never got to tell him. I had triplets, 3 children, Grace, Hope, and James Jr. They are 6 years old now." Ruth leaned forward. "This is very important, Destiny. If the will mentions children or future children, your triplets could be beneficiaries. But you will need proof that James is their biological father." "They are his children. I know they are." "I believe you, but the Williams family will not. They will demand proof. We need DNA tests." "How do we do that? James is dead." "We can use medical records. When someone dies in a hospital, tissue samples are often stored for a period of time. We can request samples from the hospital where James died. Then we can compare his DNA to your children's DNA." Destiny felt overwhelmed. "How long will this take?" 2 to 3 weeks. The will reading is in 1 week. We need to move fast." "What do I need to do?" "First, I need your permission to request James's medical records. Second, I need to take your children to a lab for DNA testing. It is simple. They just swab the inside of their cheeks. It does not hurt." "Okay, let us do it." Ruth made phone calls that afternoon. She contacted the hospital in Connecticut where James died. She explained the situation and requested tissue samples for DNA testing. The hospital agreed to release them to an authorized lab. 2 days later, Ruth took Destiny and the 3 children to a private medical lab in Manhattan. The lab was small and clean, with white walls and bright lights. The children were nervous. Hope held Destiny's hand tightly. "Mama, why do they need to test us?" Hope asked. "We know who our daddy is. This is just to make sure everyone else knows, too," Destiny said. "It will not hurt, I promise." A lab technician came out. She was a young woman with a friendly smile. "Hi there, you must be Grace, Hope, and James Jr. I am Sarah. I am going to do a very simple test. I will use a cotton swab to rub the inside of your cheek. It feels like brushing your teeth. Easy and fast. Who wants to go first?" James Jr. stepped forward. "I will go." He sat in a chair. Sarah gently swabbed the inside of his cheek. It took 5 seconds. "All done?" Sarah said. "See? Easy. Next." Grace and Hope went next. Neither of them cried or complained. Destiny was proud of them. "Results will be ready in 2 weeks," Sarah said. "We will send them directly to your attorney." The wait was terrible. Destiny could not sleep. She kept thinking about the will reading. What if James left her nothing? What if this was all a mistake? What if Victoria found a way to hurt her again? She also worried about the DNA tests. What if something went wrong? What if the tests were inconclusive? Ruth called her every few days to check on her. "Try not to worry," Ruth said. "We did everything correctly. Now we wait." On day 13, Ruth called with news. "The DNA results are back," Ruth said. "James Williams is confirmed as the biological father of all 3 children. The match is 99.9% certain." Destiny sat down on her bed. She started crying. Not sad tears. Relieved tears. "Thank you, Ruth. Thank you so much. Now we prepare for the will reading. I strongly suggest you bring the children with you." "What? Why?" "I do not want them to see that family. I do not want them to be hurt." "I understand your fear, but think about this. If the will mentions children, the Williams family will demand proof. If you bring the children, they will see them. They will see James Jr., who looks exactly like his father. They will not be able to deny the truth." Destiny thought about this. She did not want to bring her babies into that environment. But Ruth was right. The Williams family needed to see them. "Okay," Destiny said quietly. "I will bring them." "Good. Now, you need to dress them appropriately, professional and respectful. Do you have clothes for them?" Destiny looked at her children's closet. They had school clothes, but nothing fancy. Everything was cheap and worn. "No, I do not." "Go shopping. Buy them matching outfits. You want them to look neat and serious." The next day, Destiny took the children to a discount clothing store in the Bronx. She could not afford expensive clothes, but she found a sales section with school uniforms. Navy blue blazers, white button shirts, gray pants for James Jr., gray skirts for Grace and Hope. She bought 3 outfits for $95 total. It was a lot of money for her, but she paid it. At home, the children tried on the clothes. They looked neat and serious. Hope spun around in her blazer. "Do I look fancy, Mama?" she asked. "You look beautiful," Destiny said. Grace looked at herself in the mirror. "Mama, why do we need fancy clothes? Where are we going?" Destiny knelt down in front of her 3 children. She took a deep breath. "We are going to an important meeting in Manhattan. There are lawyers there who need to talk to us about your father." "Our father?" James Jr. asked. His green eyes were wide. "We are going to learn about him?" "Yes, and you might meet his family, his sister and other relatives." "Are they nice?" Hope asked. Destiny paused. She did not want to lie, but she also did not want to scare them. "I do not know," she said honestly. "But I need you to be brave. I need you to hold my hand and stay close to me. Can you do that?" All three children nodded. Grace said, "We will be brave, Mama, we promise." The night before the will reading, Destiny could not sleep. She lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Her mind raced with questions and fears. What would James's will say? Would Victoria scream at her again? Would the children be scared? She got up at 3 in the morning and walked to the kitchen. She looked at the photo of James on the table. She picked it up and held it close. "James," she whispered, "I am about to walk into a room with your family. The same family that threw me out 7 years ago. I am bringing our children. They look just like you, especially James Jr. He has your eyes, your face, your serious expression. I hope you are watching over us. I hope you protected us somehow. I hope this is not another nightmare." She put the photo down and went back to bed. She did not sleep, but she lay quietly and waited for morning. When the sun came up, Destiny woke the children. She dressed them in their new uniforms. She combed their hair. She made them breakfast. She tried to act calm even though her heart was pounding. At 8:30 in the morning, they left the apartment. They took the subway from the Bronx to Manhattan. The children were quiet and nervous. They had never been to Manhattan before. They stared out the train windows at the tall buildings. When they arrived at Fifth Avenue, Hope grabbed Destiny's hand. "Mama, everything is so big here," she said. "Stay close to me," Destiny said. "Oh, all of you, hold hands." They walked to the office building. It was tall and beautiful, with marble floors and huge glass windows. A doorman opened the door for them. Inside, everything was shiny and expensive. James Jr. looked around with wide eyes. "Mama, this place is so fancy." "Yes, baby, it is." Ruth was waiting for them in the lobby. She smiled when she saw them. "You all look wonderful," Ruth said. She knelt down and spoke directly to the children. "Today is going to be a little strange. There will be a lot of adults in a room talking about serious things. I need you to be very brave and very quiet. Can you do that?" All three children nodded. Ruth looked at Destiny. "Are you ready?" Destiny took a deep breath. "No, but let us go anyway." They walked to the elevator. The doors closed. They rode up to the 10th floor. When the doors opened, Destiny saw a sign that said, "Morgan and Associates." She held her children's hands tightly and whispered, "Today your father will finally meet you." They stepped out of the elevator into a quiet hallway. The carpet was thick and soft. Everything was clean and expensive. A receptionist sat behind a glass desk. "We are here for the Williams will reading," Ruth said. The receptionist checked her computer. "Conference room B, down the hall to the left." Ruth led them down the hallway. Destiny could hear voices coming from behind a closed door. Loud voices, laughing. She recognized one voice immediately. Victoria. Ruth stopped before opening the door. She looked at Destiny. "Are you ready?" Destiny looked down at her three children. Grace stood perfectly still, her face serious. Hope looked around with wide, curious eyes. James Jr. stared at the door with his father's green eyes. "Yes," Destiny said. "We are ready." Ruth opened the door. The conference room was huge. A long wooden table filled the center. Large windows showed the Manhattan skyline. Sitting around the table was the Williams family. Victoria sat at the head of the table. She looked older than Destiny remembered. Her face was tight from plastic surgery. She wore an expensive black dress and heavy gold jewelry. Next to her sat two men in their 40s, Richard and Edward, her sons. Richard wore an expensive suit, but it did not fit him well. Edward looked tired and stressed. Further down the table sat a woman with blonde hair and too much makeup, Margaret, James's cousin. Next to her was an older man with gray hair and a red face. Donald, James's uncle. They were all laughing and talking. Coffee cups sat in front of them. A box of expensive pastries was open on the table. Victoria was talking loudly. I already spoke to a real estate agent in Italy. The villa I want costs 3 million euros. I will purchase it immediately after this ridiculous reading is finished. Richard laughed. Mother, you should buy 2 villas. You can afford it. Edward said, I need at least 50 million to save my investment company. The rest of you can split whatever is left. Margaret said, I want the penthouse in Manhattan. I have always wanted to live on the Upper East Side. Donald said, just make sure I get enough to pay off my debts. Then I can start fresh. They were all so focused on their conversation that they did not notice the door open. Then Victoria looked up. She saw Destiny standing in the doorway. The room went completely silent. Victoria's face changed. Her smile disappeared. Her eyes went cold and hard. What are you doing here? Victoria said. Her voice was sharp and angry. Destiny did not answer. She walked into the room with Ruth beside her. The 3 children followed, holding hands. Grace in the middle, Hope on one side, James Jr. on the other. The Williams family stared. Their eyes moved from Destiny to the children. Everyone looked confused. Richard stood up. Mother, who are these children? Victoria kept her eyes on Destiny. I do not know. This woman has no children. She is probably trying to scam us with actors. Destiny walked to the opposite end of the long table. She sat down. Ruth sat next to her. The children sat on the other side of Destiny. They looked small in the big leather chairs. Edward leaned forward, staring at James Jr. His face went pale. Mother, that boy looks exactly like Uncle James. Victoria snapped her head around to look at James Jr. For the first time, she really looked at him. Her mouth fell open slightly. James Jr. stared back at her. His green eyes were steady and serious. He did not smile. He did not look away. Margaret gasped. Oh my God, that is James's face. That is definitely James's face. Donald stood up. This is a trick. She probably hired a child who looked similar. Before anyone could say more, the door opened again. An elderly man walked in. He was tall and thin, with white hair and glasses. He wore an expensive gray suit. He carried a leather briefcase. Good morning, everyone, the man said. His voice was calm and professional. I am Harold Morgan. I was James Williams's personal attorney for 20 years. Thank you all for attending today. He walked to the head of the table, but did not sit down. He placed his briefcase on the table and opened it. He took out a sealed envelope. Victoria composed herself. She sat up straight. Mr. Morgan, I demand to know why that woman is in this room. She has no right to be here. Mr. Morgan looked at Destiny. Are you Destiny Williams, widow of James Williams? Yes, Destiny said quietly. Then you have every right to be here. You are named in the will. Victoria's face turned red. This is absurd. We have waited 7 years for this reading. Let us get on with it. Mr. Morgan sat down. He put on his glasses. He opened the sealed envelope carefully. He took out several pages of paper. He cleared his throat. I will now read the last will and testament of James Williams, written on March 3rd, 7 years ago, 1 week before his death. The room was completely silent. Everyone leaned forward. Mr. Morgan began to read. I, James Williams, being of sound mind and body, do hereby declare this to be my last will and testament. I revoke all previous wills and codicils. Victoria smiled. Richard and Edward looked confident. Margaret examined her fingernails. Donald leaned back in his chair. Mr. Morgan continued. I leave my entire estate to my beloved wife, Destiny Williams. This includes all properties. all business assets, all bank accounts, all investments, and all personal belongings. Victoria's smile disappeared. Furthermore, if at the time of my death my wife is pregnant, or if children are born after my death, who are proven to be biologically mine, they shall inherit equally with their mother. The estate shall be divided into equal shares among Destiny and any children. Edward stood up. Wait, stop. What does that mean? Mister? Morgan continued reading, his voice steady. To my sister, Victoria Williams, I leave nothing. To my nephews Richard and Edward Williams, I leave nothing. To my cousin Margaret Williams, I leave nothing. To my uncle Donald Williams, I leave nothing. To all other members of the Williams family, I leave nothing. What? Victoria screamed. She stood up so fast her chair fell backward. This is insane! This is not legal! James would never do this! Mr. Morgan kept reading. I make this decision with full awareness and intention. My family has spent my entire life trying to control me and my money. They have never shown genuine love or care. They are cruel, greedy, and manipulative. I do not want them to have a single dollar of what I worked to build. My wife Destiny is the only person who ever loved me for who I am, not for my money. If we have children, I trust her to raise them with integrity and kindness. Victoria was shaking. This is a lie. That letter is fake. I demand another investigation. Richard pointed at Destiny. She probably forged this. She probably bribed the lawyers. Mr. Morgan closed the will and looked at Victoria calmly. Mrs. Williams, this will was sealed in the presence of 3 witnesses and a judge 7 years ago. I was present. I watched James sign it. It is completely legal and valid. Victoria turned to Destiny. Her face was twisted with rage. You have no children? James died before you could trap him with a baby. This will means nothing. Ruth stood up. She opened her briefcase and took out a folder. Actually, Mrs. Williams, that is incorrect. She walked around the table and placed papers in front of Mr. Morgan. These are birth certificates for 3 children born 8 months after James Williams died. Grace Williams, Hope Williams, and James Williams, Jr. All 3 list James Williams as their father. Margaret said, anyone can write a name on a birth certificate. That proves nothing. Ruth placed more papers down. These are DNA test results from an independent laboratory. Tissue samples from James Williams were compared to DNA samples from these 3 children. The results show a 99.9% probability that James Williams is their biological father. The room exploded with noise. Victoria screamed. Richard threatened lawsuits. Edward accused Destiny of fraud. Margaret started crying. Donald demanded to see the documents, but Mr. Morgan remained calm. He reviewed the DNA results carefully. He examined the birth certificates. He looked at medical records showing Destiny was pregnant at the time of James's death. Finally, he looked up. He looked directly at Victoria. These documents are legally valid and verified. The DNA tests are conclusive. These 3 children are the biological children of James Williams. Mrs. Destiny Williams and her 3 children are the sole beneficiaries of the estate. The Williams family receives nothing. Victoria grabbed the edge of the table. Her knuckles turned white. She stared at James Jr. She could not deny what she saw. The child was a copy of her dead brother. James Jr. stood up from his chair. He was small, but he stood straight and tall. He looked directly at Victoria. His voice was calm and clear. My father did not want you to have anything. The room erupted into chaos. Victoria slammed her hands on the table. Security! She screamed. Get these people out of here! Mr. Morgan stood up. His voice was firm. Mrs. Williams, I will call security to remove you if you do not calm down. This is my office. These people have every legal right to be here. Richard grabbed his phone. I am calling my lawyers right now. We will fight this. We will prove these children are not James's. The DNA tests are conclusive, Ruth said calmly. You can fight all you want. The science does not lie. Edward pointed at Destiny. You hid these children for 7 years. You never told us. That proves you are a liar. Destiny finally spoke. Her voice was quiet, but steady. I hid them because you threw me out of my home the day after my husband's funeral. You called me a gold digger in front of everyone. You put my clothes in garbage bags. Why would I tell you about my children? So you could hurt them the way you hurt me. Victoria's face turned red. We had every right to protect the family assets from a woman who married James only for money. I married James because I loved him, Destiny said. You will never understand that because you do not know what love is. Margaret wiped her eyes. This is not fair. We are family. Blood family. Those children are nothing. Grace stood up next to her brother. She looked at Margaret with cold eyes. We are not nothing. We are James Williams's children. You are the nothing. Hope stayed seated, but she spoke up too. Her voice was not cheerful like usual. You people are mean. My mama worked 3 jobs. She took care of us by herself. She never asked you for help. She does not need you now. Mr. Morgan held up his hand. This meeting is over. The will has been read. The estate will be transferred to Mrs. Destiny Williams and her 3 children. The process will take approximately 4 to 6 weeks. All legal documents will be filed with the appropriate courts. If you wish to challenge this will, you have the right to do so, but I assure you, it will be a waste of your time and money. Victoria grabbed her purse. She looked at Destiny with pure hatred. This is not over. I will destroy you. She walked out of the conference room. Her sons followed. Margaret and Donald hurried after them. When they were gone, the room was quiet. Destiny sat down. Her legs were shaking. Ruth put a hand on her shoulder. You did well, Ruth said. You were strong. Mr. Morgan came around the table. He looked at Destiny with kind eyes. Mrs. Williams, your husband was a good man. He knew exactly what his family was like. He protected you and your children even after his death. I am glad to see his wishes honored. Thank you, Destiny whispered. Mr. Morgan knelt down to speak to the children. You 3 are very brave. Your father would be proud of you. James Jr. looked at him seriously. Did you know my father? Yes. I worked with him for 20 years. He was intelligent, kind, and fair. You look just like him. Everyone says that. It is true. You have his eyes and his face. You also have his strength. I saw it today. They left the office building an hour later. Outside, reporters were waiting. Someone had called the media. Cameras flashed. Microphones were pushed toward Destiny. Mrs. Williams, is it true you hid 3 children from the Williams family? Mrs. Williams, how much money did you inherit? Mrs. Williams, did you know about the will? Ruth stepped in front of Destiny. No comment. Please let us through. They pushed through the crowd and got into a taxi. The children were scared. Hope was crying. Grace held her hand. James Jr. stared out the window. When they got back to the Bronx apartment, Destiny locked the door. She sat on the couch and pulled all 3 children close. Mama, those people were scary, Hope said. I know, baby, but it is over now. Is it really over? Grace asked. She sounded doubtful. Destiny wanted to say yes, but she was not sure. She had a feeling Victoria would not give up easily. She was right. 3 days later, Ruth called Destiny. Victoria hired 5 lawyers. She filed legal complaints in Connecticut, New York, and federal court. She is challenging the will. She claims you manipulated James. She claims the DNA tests are fake. She is demanding new tests. Destiny felt exhausted. Can she do this? She can try, but she will lose. The will is legal. The DNA tests are from an independent lab. Everything was done correctly, but this means we have to go to court. You will have to testify. When? The first hearing is in 6 weeks. Connecticut Family Court. Destiny went back to work at her cleaning company. She tried to act normal. She did not tell her employees what was happening. She did not want attention or pity. But the story was already public. News articles appeared online. Some articles were sympathetic to Destiny. They described her as a single mother who worked hard to raise 3 children alone. Other articles were cruel. They repeated Victoria's accusations. They called Destiny a gold digger and a fraud. People left comments online. Some supported Destiny. Some supported Victoria. Some said horrible things about the children. Grace found an article on the library computer at school. She read the comments. She came home crying. "Mama, people online are saying bad things about us. They say we are liars. They say we do not deserve Daddy's money." Destiny held her daughter. "Grace, do not read those things. People who do not know us have no right to judge us. We know the truth. That is all that matters." But Grace could not stop thinking about it. She became quieter. She stopped smiling completely. James Jr. was different. He was not sad. He was angry. He heard his mother crying at night. He saw how stressed she looked. He wanted to protect her, but did not know how. One night, he came into Destiny's bedroom. She was sitting on the bed, looking at legal papers. "Mama, are we going to be okay?" he asked. Destiny pulled him onto her lap. "Yes, baby. We are going to be okay. I promise. I do not like those people. They are mean to you. I know. But we will not let them hurt us. We are stronger than they are. Can I come to court with you? I want to tell the judge what I think." Destiny kissed his forehead. "You are so brave. Just like your father." The 6 weeks passed slowly. Victoria appeared on television twice. She did interviews with news programs. She wore simple clothes and cried for the cameras. "My brother James was my best friend," she told one reporter. "I loved him deeply. When he died, I was devastated. This woman Destiny showed up at his funeral, and I had concerns. She was so much younger than James. I worried she had ulterior motives. Now she claims to have his children, but she hid them for 7 years. Why would she do that unless she had something to hide?" The interviewer asked, "Do you believe the children are really James's?" "I do not know," Victoria said. "I want new DNA tests done by doctors I trust. I think this woman is capable of anything." Destiny watched the interview with Ruth. She felt sick. "She is lying," Destiny said. "She is trying to make people feel sorry for her." "Let her lie," Ruth said. "The truth will come out in court." Finally, the day of the hearing arrived. Destiny wore a simple black dress. Ruth told her to look respectful and serious. They took the train to Connecticut. The courthouse was old and impressive. Reporters stood outside. Destiny walked past them without speaking. Inside, the courtroom was large, with high ceilings. Victoria sat on one side with her 5 lawyers. She wore a conservative blue suit. Her sons sat behind her. Destiny sat on the other side with Ruth. The children were not allowed in the courtroom for this hearing. Mrs. Chen was watching them back in New York. The judge entered. Everyone stood. The judge was a woman in her 60s with gray hair and glasses. She sat down and reviewed the case files. "This is a hearing to determine the validity of James Williams's last will and testament," the judge said. "Mrs. Victoria Williams is challenging the will. Mrs. Destiny Williams is defending it. We will hear testimony from both sides. Mrs. Victoria Williams, Your lawyers may begin." Victoria's lead lawyer stood up. He was a tall man in an expensive suit. "Your Honor, we believe this will is invalid because Mr. James Williams was under undue influence when he wrote it. We believe Mrs. Destiny Williams manipulated him into leaving everything to her." The judge looked at him over her glasses. "Do you have evidence of this manipulation?" "We have testimony that Mrs. Destiny Williams married Mr. Williams very quickly. They knew each other for only 6 months before marriage. This suggests she had ulterior motives." Ruth stood up. "Your Honor, there is no law against short courtships. Many people marry quickly when they are in love." The judge nodded. "Agreed. Continue." Victoria's lawyer said, "We also question the validity of the DNA tests. We request new tests to confirm the children are biologically Mr. Williams's." The judge looked at the files. The DNA tests were performed by an independent, accredited laboratory. The results show 99.9% probability of paternity. That is legally conclusive. Request denied. Victoria leaned forward and whispered angrily to her lawyer. He nodded and said, "Your Honor, we believe Mrs. Williams should explain why she hid these children from the family for 7 years." The judge looked at Destiny. "Mrs. Williams, please take the stand." Destiny stood up. Her legs felt weak. She walked to the witness stand and sat down. A bailiff asked her to swear to tell the truth. She did. The judge said, "Mrs. Williams, please tell the court why you did not inform the Williams family about your pregnancy." Destiny took a deep breath. She looked directly at the judge. "Your Honor, the day after my husband's funeral, Victoria Williams came to my home with lawyers and security guards. She told me I had to leave immediately. She called me a gold digger in front of the staff. She told them to pack my belongings in garbage bags. She threw me out with no money and nowhere to go. I was 2 months pregnant at the time, but I did not tell anyone because I was terrified. I knew if I told them, they would make my life even worse." The courtroom was silent. Destiny continued. "I moved to a 1-bedroom apartment in the Bronx. I worked 3 jobs while pregnant. I cleaned offices at night, answered phones during the day, and did data entry on weekends. I had no family to help me. When my children were born, I raised them alone. I never asked the Williams family for money or help because they made it very clear I was not welcome." Victoria's lawyer said, "But you could have contacted them after the children were born. You chose not to." Destiny looked at him. "Why would I expose my children to people who hated their mother? I protected them from cruelty. That was my job as a parent." The judge leaned forward. "Mrs. Williams, did you know about the sealed will?" "No, Your Honor. I did not even know such a thing existed until I received the letter from Mr. Morgan." "So you did not hide the children in order to claim an inheritance?" "No, Your Honor. I thought the Williams family had already taken everything. I was shocked when I got the letter." The judge reviewed her notes. Then she looked at Victoria. "Mrs. Victoria Williams, why did you remove Mrs. Destiny Williams from the home the day after the funeral?" Victoria stood up. "Your Honor, I was protecting my brother's estate." "From his legal wife?" "I believed she was a gold digger." "Based on what evidence?" Victoria hesitated. "Based on the fact that she was young and black and came from nothing." The courtroom went silent. Even Victoria's lawyers looked uncomfortable. The judge's face hardened. "Mrs. Williams, those are not legal grounds for removing someone from their home. They are, however, evidence of discrimination and cruelty." Victoria sat down, her face red. The judge reviewed all the evidence for 2 more hours. She looked at medical records. She looked at DNA tests. She looked at birth certificates. She asked more questions. Finally, she made her decision. Based on all evidence presented, I find that the will of James Williams is completely valid and legal. The DNA tests confirm that Grace Williams, Hope Williams, and James Williams Jr. are the biological children of James Williams. Mrs. Destiny Williams and her 3 children are the rightful heirs to the estate. Mrs. Victoria Williams's challenge is denied. This case is closed. The judge hit her gavel. Victoria screamed, "No, this is not right. That money belongs to our family." The judge said firmly, "Mrs. Williams, control yourself or I will hold you in contempt of court." Victoria stood up. "You are all corrupt. She paid you. She paid all of you." 2 security guards approached Victoria. "Ma'am, you need to leave now." Victoria tried to push them away. Richard and Edward grabbed her arms and pulled her toward the door. She screamed all the way out, "This is not over! I will appeal! I will never stop fighting!" When the courtroom doors closed, Ruth turned to Destiny and smiled. "It is over. You won." Destiny started crying. Not sad tears, relief tears. Outside the courthouse, reporters surrounded them again. One reporter shouted, "Mrs. Williams, Victoria says she will appeal. Are you worried?" Destiny stopped. She looked at the camera. She spoke clearly. "I am not worried. The truth has been proven. My children are James Williams's rightful heirs. Victoria had 7 years to find us and help us. She chose not to. Now she faces the consequences of her choices." The cameras stopped rolling. Destiny walked to the car with Ruth. Her phone started ringing immediately. Mr. Morgan was calling. "Mrs. Williams, congratulations on your victory," he said. "I need you to come to my office tomorrow. We must begin the transfer of assets." "Tomorrow?" Destiny felt overwhelmed. "What does that mean?" "It means you now legally own everything in your late husband's estate. We need to sign paperwork and make arrangements for you to take possession of the properties." Destiny sat in the back of the car. She could not believe this was real. "How much is everything worth?" "The total estate is valued at $4.7 billion. Destiny almost dropped the phone. "Did you say billion?" "Yes, $4.7 billion, plus properties, business assets, and investments." That night, Destiny could not sleep. She sat at her small kitchen table in the Bronx apartment. She looked around at the cracked walls and old furniture. Tomorrow, everything would change. The next morning, she met with Mr. Morgan and a team of financial advisors. They sat in a large conference room with stacks of papers. Mr. Morgan explained everything. The estate includes the following: a 12-bedroom mansion in Greenwich, Connecticut, a penthouse apartment on the Upper East Side in Manhattan, a private island called Paradise Key in the Bahamas, 43% ownership of Williams Technologies, real estate investments across 15 states, an art collection valued at $80 million, and various bank accounts totaling $1.2 billion. One advisor, a woman named Susan Chen, said, "Mrs. Williams, we understand this is overwhelming. We are here to help you manage everything." "I do not know anything about managing this much money," Destiny said honestly. "That is why you have us. We will handle investments, taxes, legal matters, and property management. You will make the final decisions, but we will advise you." Another advisor, a man named Thomas Reed, said, "The most important decision right now is where you want to live. The Greenwich Mansion is fully furnished and ready. The Manhattan penthouse is also available. Or you can stay where you are, and we will manage the properties for you." Destiny thought about her 3 children in the small Bronx apartment. They shared one bedroom with bunk beds. She thought about the mansion where James grew up, where he wanted his children to grow up. "I want to move to the Greenwich Mansion," she said. "That was my husband's home. I want our children to live there." "Excellent choice," Mr. Morgan said. "We will arrange everything. You can move in next week." When Destiny got home, the children were with Mrs. Chen. Destiny asked Mrs. Chen to stay for a few minutes. She sat all three children down at the small table. "I need to talk to you about something important," Destiny said. The children looked at her with serious faces. "The court decided that everything your father owned now belongs to us. That includes a very big house in Connecticut. We are going to move there next week." Hope's eyes got wide. "How big?" "Very big. 12 bedrooms." 12? Hope jumped up. "Does that mean I get my own room?" "Yes, you each get your own room." Grace looked worried. "I do not want to leave. This is our home. This is where we have always lived." Destiny pulled Grace close. "I know this is scary. Change is always scary. But this is what your father wanted. He wanted you to grow up in his house. He wanted you to have opportunities he could give you." James Jr. was quiet. Finally, he said, "Will we be safe there?" "Yes, baby. I promise we will be safe. We will be together. That is what matters." "What about Mrs. Chen?" Grace asked. "We cannot leave Mrs. Chen." Mrs. Chen smiled. "Do not worry about me. I will visit you, and you can call me any time." The following week was chaos. Professional movers came to pack their belongings. Destiny was embarrassed by how little they owned. A few clothes, some books, toys, photos. Everything fit in 5 boxes. A black car arrived to drive them to Greenwich. The children had never been in such a nice car. The seats were leather. There was a television screen in the back. As they drove out of the Bronx, Hope pressed her face against the window. "Goodbye, home," she whispered. Grace held Destiny's hand tightly. James Jr. stared straight ahead, his face serious. They drove for 1 hour. The neighborhoods changed. Buildings became houses. Houses became mansions. Finally, they turned onto a private road. At the end was a large gate with the letter W on it. The driver pressed a button. The gates opened slowly. Hope gasped. "Mama, look!" The mansion appeared. It was enormous. White stone, tall columns, huge windows, beautiful gardens, a fountain in front. The car stopped in the circular driveway. The driver opened the doors. The children climbed out slowly. "This is ours?" James Jr. asked. "Yes," Destiny said. "This is ours." The front door opened. Mr. Morgan stood there with a woman in a professional suit. "Welcome home, Mrs. Williams," Mr. Morgan said. "This is Patricia Ross. She managed the house staff when Mr. James Williams lived here. She can continue in that role if you wish." Patricia was a white woman in her 50s with kind eyes. "Welcome, Mrs. Williams. Welcome, children. Would you like a tour?" They walked through the mansion. The children's mouths hung open. The entrance hall had marble floors and a crystal chandelier. The living room had tall ceilings and huge sofas. The dining room had a table that could seat 20 people. The kitchen was bigger than their entire Bronx apartment. Upstairs were the bedrooms. Patricia showed each child to their room. "This can be Grace's room," Patricia said, opening a door. The room was huge. Pink wallpaper, a big bed with a canopy, a desk, bookshelves, a walk-in closet, windows overlooking the garden. Grace walked in slowly. She touched the bed. "This is all mine?" "Yes, sweetheart," Destiny said. Hope's room was next door. It was painted yellow with white furniture. Hope ran inside and jumped on the bed. "This is the best day of my life." James Jr.'s room was down the hall. It was painted blue with wooden furniture. But what made James Jr. stop was the desk. It was the same desk from the photo Destiny had shown him. His father's desk. "This was his room," James Jr. whispered. "This was my daddy's room." Destiny knelt beside him. "Yes, Your father grew up in this room. Now it is yours." James Jr. sat at the desk. He ran his hands over the wood. Tears ran down his face. Patricia showed Destiny to the master bedroom. It was enormous. A king-sized bed, a fireplace, a sitting area, a balcony overlooking the property. "This was James's room after he became an adult," Patricia said quietly. "I have kept it exactly as he left it." Destiny walked in slowly. She saw James's things, his books, his photos, his clothes still in the closet. She sat on the bed and cried. After the tour, Mr. Morgan said, "Mrs. Williams, I need to inform you that all the previous staff was let go. Victoria fired them after James died and hired new people. Those people are no longer employed here. You will need to hire a new staff." "I do not know how to hire staff," Destiny said. "I can help," Patricia said. "If you would like, I can recommend people. Good people, kind people, who will treat you and your children with respect." "Yes, please. I want kind people. No one who worked for Victoria." Over the next 2 weeks, Patricia helped Destiny hire new staff. A chef named Maria, 2 housekeepers named Anna and Rose, a gardener named Thomas, a driver named Marcus. All of them were professional and kind. Destiny also redecorated. She did not want the house to feel like a museum. She wanted it to feel like a home. She painted walls in bright colors. She hung family photos everywhere. Photos of James. Photos of the children. Photos of their life in the Bronx. She turned one room into a playroom for the children. She filled it with books, games, and toys. She made sure the children knew this was their house, not a place where they had to be quiet and careful. Meanwhile, Victoria's life was falling apart. She tried to appeal the court's decision 3 more times. Every court rejected her. She hired more lawyers, but they told her she had no case. The will was legal. The DNA tests were conclusive. She had lost. Victoria had spent all her money on lawyers. She had to sell her expensive apartment. She moved in with her son Richard, but Richard did not want her there. He blamed her for losing the inheritance. Edward stopped taking her phone calls. Margaret moved to California to avoid her. Donald disappeared completely. Victoria became obsessed with contacting Destiny. She called the Greenwich Mansion every day. Patricia answered. "Mrs. Williams does not wish to speak with you," Patricia said firmly. "I need to talk to her. Please, I made mistakes. I need help." "Mrs. Williams has instructed us not to put through any calls from you or your family. Goodbye." Victoria sent letters. Destiny threw them away without reading them. Victoria sent flowers with apology notes. Destiny donated them to a hospital. One day, Victoria showed up at the mansion gates. She pressed the intercom button. "This is Victoria Williams. I need to speak to Destiny immediately." Marcus, the driver, was monitoring the gate. "Ma'am, you are not welcome here. Please leave." "I will not leave. This is my family home. I have a right to be here." "Ma'am, if you do not leave, I will call the police." Victoria started crying. "Please, I have nothing. I lost everything. I just need help. Family should help family." Marcus called the police. They arrived 10 minutes later and escorted Victoria away. Inside the mansion, Grace had watched from her bedroom window. "Mama, that woman is here again." Destiny came to the window. She saw police putting Victoria in their car. For a moment, she felt almost sorry for her. Then she remembered standing alone at James's funeral. She remembered garbage bags. She remembered cleaning toilets at 8 months pregnant. She made her choices, Destiny said. Now she lives with them. That evening, Destiny enrolled the children in Greenfield Academy. It was the same private school James attended as a child. The tuition was $35,000 per year per child. The admissions director, a woman named Mrs. Henderson, smiled at the children. "We are honored to have James Williams's children attend our school. Your father was one of our most distinguished alumni." James Jr. looked at the photos on the wall. One showed a young James Williams receiving an award. "That is my daddy." "Yes," Mrs. Henderson said, "he was a brilliant student. I have no doubt you will be brilliant too." School would start in 2 weeks. Destiny bought uniforms, supplies, and new shoes for each child. She made sure they had everything they needed. One night, as she tucked the children into their new beds, Grace said, "Mama, do we deserve all this?" Destiny sat on the edge of Grace's bed. "Your father wanted you to have it. He loved you before he even knew you existed. That is all that matters. But we never worked for it. We never earned it. Your father worked for it. He built everything so his family would be taken care of. You are his family. This is your inheritance. But listen to me carefully. Money does not make you better than anyone. It is just a tool. What matters is how you use it. I will make sure you grow up to be kind, generous, and humble, just like your father." Grace nodded. "I will make him proud. I promise." Destiny kissed her forehead. "You already do, baby. You already do." The alarm rang at 6 o'clock in the morning. Destiny woke up and walked down the hallway. She opened each child's bedroom door. The rooms were still dark. "Time to wake up," she said gently. "Today is your first day at Greenfield Academy." Hope sat up immediately. She was excited. Grace moved slowly. She looked nervous. James Jr. opened his eyes, but stayed in bed. "Come on, everyone. Breakfast is ready downstairs." Maria, the chef, had prepared pancakes, eggs, and fruit. The children sat at the large dining table. Everything felt strange and formal. Hope swung her legs under the table. "Mama, can we eat in the kitchen instead? This table is too big." Destiny smiled. "Yes, we can eat wherever we want. This is our home." They moved to the smaller kitchen table. It felt better, more normal. After breakfast, the children got dressed in their school uniforms. Navy blazers with the Greenfield Academy crest, white shirts, gray pants for James Jr., gray skirts for Grace and Hope. They looked neat and serious. Marcus drove them to school in the black car. The children pressed their faces against the windows. They had never been driven to school before. In the Bronx, they always took the bus. Greenfield Academy was beautiful. Old brick buildings with ivy growing on the walls. Large green fields. Tennis courts. A huge library. Other parents were dropping off their children. Everyone drove expensive cars. Mercedes, BMW, Range Rover. The parents wore designer clothes and carried expensive bags. Destiny felt out of place, even though she now had more money than most of them. She wore a simple black dress and carried a regular purse. A teacher greeted them at the entrance. "Welcome! You must be the Williams children. I am Mr. Patterson. I will show you to your classroom." The classroom was bright and clean. 20 desks arranged in rows. Other children were already there. They all turned to stare at Grace, Hope, and James Jr. One boy whispered loudly, "Those are the Williams kids, the ones from the news." Another girl said, "My mom says their mom is a gold digger." Grace heard this. Her face went red. Hope looked confused. James Jr. clenched his fists. Mr. Patterson clapped his hands. "Class, please welcome Grace, Hope, and James Williams. Let us make them feel welcome. Grace, you can sit next to Emma. Hope, you sit next to Lily. James, you sit next to Christopher." The school day was long and difficult. Some children were kind, others whispered and pointed. During lunch, Grace sat alone in the library. She did not want to deal with the other children. Hope tried to make friends. She sat with a group of girls and introduced herself. "Hi, I am Hope Williams. I just moved here from the Bronx." One girl, Lily, smiled. "I am Lily. Do you like art class?" "I love art and singing. Do you have a music program here?" "Yes, auditions for the school play are next week." Hope felt happy. At least one person was nice. James Jr. sat with a boy named Christopher during lunch. Christopher was quiet and serious too. "Do you like math?" Christopher asked. "Yes, it is my favorite subject," James Jr. said. "Mine too. Maybe we can study together sometime." "Okay." When Marcus picked them up at 3 o'clock, the children climbed into the car quietly. "How was your first day?" Destiny asked. Hope said, "Some kids were nice, some were mean, but I think it will get better." Grace said nothing. She stared out the window. James Jr. said, "The teachers are good. The work is not too hard." That night, Destiny found Grace crying in her room. "Baby, what is wrong?" "I do not fit in here, Mama. The other kids all know each other. They have been going to this school since kindergarten. They wear expensive clothes and talk about vacations in Europe. I have never been on a vacation. I do not know what to say to them." Destiny held her daughter. "You do not need to be like them. You are smart and kind. That is enough. Give it time." Over the next few weeks, things got easier. Hope joined the theater program. She auditioned for the school play and got a role. She loved being on stage. Other children started to like her because she was fun and friendly. Grace joined the debate team. The coach, Mrs. Reynolds, saw that Grace was brilliant with words. Grace could argue any topic clearly and logically. She started winning debates against older students. James Jr. joined the coding club. He learned how to program computers. He built a simple game in 2 weeks. His teacher said he had a natural gift. Meanwhile, Destiny focused on learning how to manage the estate. She met with Susan Chen and Thomas Reed twice per week. They taught her about investments, stocks, and business. "Mrs. Williams, you own 43% of Williams Technologies," Susan said. "That makes you the largest single shareholder. You have the right to attend board meetings and vote on company decisions." "I do not know anything about technology," Destiny said. "You can learn, and you do not have to know everything. You have advisors, but you should attend the meetings. Let them see you. Let them know you are involved." The following week, Destiny attended her first board meeting at Williams Technologies. The company headquarters was in Manhattan, a tall glass building with 50 floors. Destiny wore a professional black suit. She walked into the boardroom. 12 men in expensive suits sat around a large table. They all stared at her. The CEO, a man named Robert Clark, stood up. "Mrs. Williams, welcome. We were not expecting you." "I own 43% of this company," Destiny said calmly. "I have every right to be here." "Of course. Please sit." Destiny sat down. The men continued their meeting. They talked about quarterly earnings, new products, and market strategies. Destiny listened carefully. She did not understand everything, but she took notes. She asked questions. One man, a vice president named Michael Ross, seemed annoyed by her questions. "Mrs. Williams, these are complex business matters. Perhaps you should let us handle the operations." Destiny looked at him directly. "My husband built this company. Now my children will inherit it. I need to understand how it works. I will keep asking questions until I do." Robert Clark smiled slightly. "Mrs. Williams, your questions are valid. Please continue." After the meeting, Robert walked Destiny to the elevator. "Mrs. Williams, I want you to know that your husband was a brilliant man. I worked with him for 15 years. The company is successful because of his vision. If you ever need help understanding anything, please ask me directly. Thank you, Mr. Clark. I appreciate that. Destiny attended board meetings every month. She learned fast. After 6 months, she started making suggestions. After 1 year, the board members began to respect her. During this time, Destiny also started the James Williams Foundation. She wanted to honor her husband by helping others. She remembered how hard life was as a single mother with no money and no support. She hired a director named Patricia Moore to run the foundation. Patricia had 20 years of experience in nonprofit work. "What is your vision for this foundation?" Patricia asked. "I want to help single mothers," Destiny said. "I want to provide housing assistance, job training, childcare, and education. I want to give them the support I never had." "That is a beautiful mission. How much funding will you provide?" $5 million in the first year. Patricia's eyes widened. $5 million? That is incredibly generous. My husband left us more money than we could ever spend. It should be used to help people. The foundation opened offices in the Bronx, where Destiny used to live. They provided apartments for single mothers. They offered free job training programs. They paid for childcare so mothers could work or go to school. Destiny visited the foundation office once a month. She talked to the women in the program. She shared her story. She gave them hope. One woman, a single mother named Nicole, cried when she met Destiny. "You do not know what this program means to me. I was about to lose my apartment. I had nowhere to go with my 2 kids. This program saved us." Destiny hugged her. "I know exactly what it means. I was you 7 years ago. I want to make sure no mother has to struggle alone the way I did." The foundation helped 500 women in the first year. The program was so successful that news articles were written about it. Destiny was invited to speak at charity events. She became known not just as James Williams's widow, but as a philanthropist in her own right. Back at home, life settled into a routine. The children went to school. Destiny managed the business and the foundation. They had dinner together every night at 6 o'clock. Destiny made sure the children did their homework. She gave them chores. She did not want them to become spoiled. One evening, James Jr. was taking out the trash. Hope was washing dishes. Grace was folding laundry. Hope laughed. "Mama, we are probably the only billionaires who have to do chores." "Money does not excuse you from responsibility," Destiny said. "Your father grew up wealthy, but his parents made him work. He learned the value of things. You will too." Despite their new life, Victoria continued trying to make contact. She sent emails to the foundation office. She sent letters to the mansion. She showed up at Greenfield Academy one afternoon. Grace was leaving school when she saw a woman standing by the gate. It was Victoria. She looked older and tired. Her clothes were not expensive anymore. "Grace, wait!" Victoria called out. Grace froze. She recognized Victoria from the lawyer's office and the court. She immediately turned and ran back toward the school building. She found a teacher. "There is a woman at the gate. She is trying to talk to me. I do not know her, and I do not want to talk to her." The teacher called security. Security guards went to the gate and told Victoria to leave. "I just want to talk to my niece," Victoria said. "I have a right to see my brother's children." "Ma'am, you do not have any legal rights to these children. If you do not leave immediately, we will call the police." Victoria left, but she was crying. That evening, Grace told Destiny what happened. "Mama, that woman was at school. She tried to talk to me." Destiny felt her heart racing with anger. "Did she touch you? Did she hurt you?" "No. I ran away and got a teacher." "Good girl. You did exactly right." James Jr., who was listening, said, "Mama, she will never stop. We need to make her stop." Destiny looked at her son. His face was serious and determined. He was only 7 years old, but he spoke like an adult. "I know, baby. I will handle it." The next morning, Destiny called Ruth. "Victoria showed up at the children's school yesterday. She tried to approach Grace. This has to stop. What can we do legally?" Ruth sighed. "We can request a restraining order. If the court grants it, Victoria will not be allowed within 500 feet of you or the children. If she violates it, she can be arrested. Let us do it. File the paperwork today." "Destiny, you know this will make her even more desperate." "I do not care. She threw me out of my home 7 years ago. She called me a gold digger. She spent a year trying to take everything from my children. Now she wants sympathy and access to them? No, she made her choice. She has to live with it." Ruth filed for a restraining order. The court date was set for 3 weeks later. Victoria hired a new lawyer. His name was Dennis Murphy. He worked from a small office in New Jersey. He was not expensive or prestigious, but he was the only lawyer willing to take her case. They met in his cramped office 3 days before the hearing. Victoria sat across from him, looking desperate. "Mr. Murphy, I need to see those children. They are my brother's children. I have family rights." Dennis looked at the files. "Mrs. Williams, the law is not on your side. You are not their parent or grandparent. You have no legal relationship to them. I am their aunt, their blood relative. That has to mean something. It means very little in court, especially given your history with Mrs. Destiny Williams. You removed her from her home. You called her names. You challenged the will. You have shown no kindness to her or the children. Why would a judge give you access now?" "Because I made mistakes," Victoria's voice broke. "I was wrong. I know that now. I lost everything. My money, my home, my family. I just want a chance to know my brother's children." "Is that so terrible?" Dennis sighed. "Mrs. Williams, I will do my best, but you need to be honest with yourself. The chances of winning are very small." On the day of the hearing, the courthouse was crowded with reporters. The Williams family story had become famous. Everyone wanted to see what would happen. Destiny arrived with Ruth and the 3 children. The children were now 7 years old. They wore their school uniforms. They walked close to their mother. Inside the courtroom, Victoria was already seated with Dennis Murphy. She wore a simple gray dress, no jewelry, no makeup. She was trying to look humble and sorry. When Victoria saw the children, her eyes filled with tears. James Jr. looked so much like her dead brother. It hurt to see him. The judge entered. Everyone stood. The judge was the same woman from the previous hearing. She remembered this case well. "We are here to address a request for a restraining order," the judge said. "Mrs. Destiny Williams has requested that Mrs. Victoria Williams be prohibited from contacting her or her children. Mrs. Victoria Williams is contesting this request and asking for visitation rights. Let us begin." Ruth stood up. "Your Honor, Mrs. Victoria Williams has repeatedly attempted to contact my client and her children despite being told not to. Most recently, she appeared at the children's school and attempted to approach one of them. This behavior is harassment. My client and her children have the right to live without fear." Dennis Murphy stood up. "Your Honor, my client acknowledges she has made mistakes in the past. But she is family. These children are her brother's children. She simply wants the opportunity to know them and be part of their lives." The judge looked at Victoria. "Mrs. Williams, why should I grant you access to these children when you threw their mother out of her home 7 years ago?" Victoria stood up. "Your Honor, I made a terrible mistake. I was grieving my brother. I was not thinking clearly. I thought Destiny was after his money. I was wrong. I see that now. I have lost everything because of my actions. I do not want money. I just want to know my brother's children." The judge did not look sympathetic. "Mrs. Williams, you had 7 years to find these children and help their mother. You chose not to. You only reached out after you lost the inheritance. That does not suggest genuine love. That suggests desperation." Victoria started crying. "Please, Your Honor, they are all I have left of my brother." The judge turned to Destiny. "Mrs. Williams, do you wish to speak?" Destiny stood up. She wore a navy blue suit. She looked calm and strong. "Yes, Your Honor. Victoria Williams destroyed me 7 years ago. She humiliated me at the lowest point of my life. I was grieving my husband, I was pregnant and alone. She called me horrible names and threw me out with nothing. I survived by working 3 jobs while pregnant with triplets. I raised my children in a 1-bedroom apartment in the Bronx. I never asked her for help because she made it clear I was not wanted. Now she wants access to my children? No. She does not get to hurt them the way she hurt me." The courtroom was silent. The judge nodded. "I appreciate your testimony, Mrs. Williams. Now I would like to hear from the children." Ruth said, "Your Honor, the children are prepared to testify." The judge looked at Grace, Hope, and James Jr. "Children, I know this is scary, but I need to hear from you. I need to know what you want. Who would like to go first?" Grace stood up. She walked to the witness stand. A bailiff helped her sit down. She looked tiny in the big chair, but her face was serious and determined. The judge spoke gently. "Grace, do you know who Victoria Williams is?" "Yes, she is my father's sister." "Have you ever met her before?" "I saw her at the lawyer's office when the will was read. I saw her in court. I saw her at my school gate." "Do you want to have a relationship with her?" Grace looked directly at Victoria. Her voice was clear and firm. "No, she hurt my mother. I do not forgive her." Victoria put her hand over her mouth. Tears ran down her face. The judge said, "Thank you, Grace. You may sit down." Hope went next. She was usually cheerful and friendly, but today she was serious. The judge asked her the same questions. "Hope, do you want to know your Aunt Victoria?" Hope looked at Victoria. Then she looked at her mother. "She made my mama cry. Mama never talks about it, but I know. I heard her crying at night when we lived in the Bronx. I do not want to know someone who hurt my mama." Victoria sobbed quietly. Dennis Murphy put his hand on her shoulder. Finally, James Jr. took the stand. He sat up straight. His green eyes were steady. The judge asked, "James, do you understand why we are here today?" "Yes, that woman wants to see us. But we do not want to see her." "Why not?" "My father wrote in his will that she should get nothing. He knew what kind of person she was. I trust my father's judgment." The judge leaned back in her chair. She looked at all the documents. She looked at Victoria. She looked at the children. "I have heard enough," the judge said. "Mrs. Victoria Williams, you had 7 years to find this woman and these children. You had 7 years to apologize and offer help. You did not. You only reached out after you lost the inheritance. Your actions were motivated by greed, not love. These children have clearly expressed they do not want a relationship with you. I will honor their wishes." Victoria stood up. "Your Honor, please, give me one chance. Just one." The judge spoke firmly. "Mrs. Williams, I am granting a permanent restraining order. You are prohibited from contacting Mrs. Destiny Williams or her children by any means. You may not call, write, email, or approach them. You must stay at least 500 feet away from their home, their school, and any location where they are present. If you violate this order, You will be arrested. Do you understand? Victoria collapsed in her chair. This is not fair. This is not fair. The court has made its decision. This hearing is concluded. The judge hit her gavel. Security guards approached Victoria. Dennis Murphy helped her stand up. She looked at the children one last time. I am sorry, she whispered. I am so sorry. James Jr. looked at her without emotion. You are not sorry. You are just sorry you lost. Security escorted Victoria out of the courtroom. She cried loudly. People in the hallway turned to stare. Dennis Murphy walked beside her, looking uncomfortable. Ruth put her arm around Destiny. It is finally over. She cannot hurt you anymore. Destiny felt like a huge weight had been lifted. She knelt down and hugged all three children. You were so brave. I am so proud of you. Grace said quietly, I do not feel bad for her, Mama. Is that wrong? No, baby. You do not have to feel bad for someone who was cruel to you. You are allowed to protect yourself. They left the courtroom through a side exit, but reporters found them anyway. Cameras flashed. Microphones appeared. One reporter shouted, Mrs. Williams, how do you feel about the judge's decision? Destiny stopped. She looked at the camera. She spoke clearly and calmly. Victoria Williams had many opportunities to be kind. She chose cruelty instead. Today, the court protected my children from someone who hurt their mother. I am grateful. My children will grow up knowing their father loved them and protected them. That is all that matters. Another reporter asked, Do you think Victoria will ever stop trying? She has to. The law has spoken. If she violates the restraining order, she will go to jail. I hope she finds peace, but she will find it far away from my family. They walked to the car. Marcus opened the doors. The children climbed inside. As they drove away, Hope said, Mama, is it really over now? Destiny looked at her three children. They looked tired, but relieved. Yes, baby, it is really over. That night, Destiny could not sleep. She got up at midnight and went to the kitchen. She made tea and sat at the table. She thought about the last 7 years, the poverty, the struggle, the fear, the court battles. She thought about James. She wondered if he was watching. She hoped he was proud. She walked to James's old office in the mansion. She had kept it exactly as it was. His desk, his books, his photos. She sat in his leather chair and looked at a framed photo of him on the desk. James, she whispered, it is finally over. Victoria can never hurt us again. Our children are safe. They are strong. They are everything you hoped they would be. I kept my promise. I protected them. She touched the photo gently. Then she went back to bed. For the first time in 7 years, Destiny Williams slept peacefully through the entire night. The next morning, Destiny woke up feeling different, lighter. The constant worry and fear were gone. Victoria could no longer threaten them. The legal battles were finished. For the first time since James died, she felt truly free. She went downstairs and made breakfast for the children. They came down one by one, still in their pajamas. Good morning, Mama, Hope said, yawning. Good morning, baby. Did you sleep well? Yes. I had a dream about singing in front of a big audience. Maybe that dream will come true someday. 2 years passed. The children grew from 7 years old to 9 years old. Life in the Greenwich mansion became normal. They no longer felt like visitors in someone else's home. It was truly their home. Grace excelled at everything she did. She became captain of the debate team at Greenfield Academy. She won competitions against students from other elite schools. Teachers said she had a gift for argument and logic. She was confident now. She had made two close friends, Emma and Sarah. They studied together and supported each other. One day, Grace came home with a trophy. It was tall and gold. "Mama, look! We won the state debate championship!" Destiny hugged her tightly. "I am so proud of you. Your father would be so proud." "I want to be a lawyer when I grow up," Grace said. "Like Ruth. I want to help people the way she helped us." "You will be an excellent lawyer." Hope thrived in the theater program. She performed in 3 school plays. She played the lead role in the spring musical. Parents in the audience cried during her solo because her voice was so beautiful. She was still loud and joyful. She made friends with everyone. She brought light into every room. After one performance, Hope ran to Destiny backstage. "Mama, did you see me? Did you hear me sing?" "I saw everything, baby. You were incredible. The whole audience loved you. I want to be on Broadway someday. I want to sing on big stages in New York City." "I believe you will." James Jr. became the top student in his grade. He was a genius in math and science. He taught himself advanced programming languages. He built an app that helped younger children learn math through games. He entered the app in a national competition for young inventors. He won first place and received $10,000 in prize money. When he came home with the award, Destiny cried, "Baby, I am so proud of you. What are you going to do with the prize money?" "I want to donate it to the foundation," James Jr. said seriously, "to help other kids." Destiny knelt down and hugged him. "Your father's kindness lives in you." James Jr. spent hours in his father's old office. He read books about business and technology. He studied Williams Technologies and asked Destiny questions about how the company worked. "Mama, when I grow up, I want to run Daddy's company," he said one evening. "You will," Destiny said. "You will make it even bigger and better than it was. I promise I will make him proud." Meanwhile, Destiny became a respected businesswoman. She attended board meetings at Williams Technologies every month. She learned about technology, investments, and corporate strategy. The board members no longer underestimated her. They listened to her ideas. The company grew under her leadership. She also expanded the James Williams Foundation. In 2 years, the foundation helped over 500 single mothers. It provided housing for 200 families. It paid for job training for 300 women. It offered free childcare so mothers could work or go to school. Destiny visited the foundation offices once a month. She walked through the housing facilities. She talked to the mothers in the program. She shared her story every time. One woman, Lisa, hugged Destiny and cried, "You saved my life. I was about to be homeless with my daughter. This program gave us a safe place to live and helped me get a job. I will never forget what you did for us." "I did not do it alone," Destiny said. "My husband built the wealth. I am just making sure it helps people. That is what he would have wanted." The foundation received national recognition. Destiny was invited to speak at conferences. Magazines wrote articles about her. She appeared on television to talk about helping single mothers. During one interview, a reporter asked, "Mrs. Williams, you went from poverty to billions of dollars. How did that change you?" Destiny thought carefully before answering. "Money gave me security and opportunity, but it did not change who I am. I still remember cleaning toilets while pregnant. I still remember counting pennies to buy food. Those experiences made me who I am. I will never forget them, and I will make sure my children never take their privilege for granted." What do you want your legacy to be? I want people to know that James Williams was a good man who loved his family. I want my children to grow up kind and generous. I want the foundation to help thousands of mothers and children. That is my legacy. The Williams family never contacted Destiny again. Victoria disappeared completely. Destiny heard through Mr. Morgan that Victoria moved to Florida. She lived in a small apartment and worked as a receptionist at a doctor's office. Richard moved to California and changed his last name. He wanted nothing to do with the Williams family scandal. Edward declared bankruptcy and moved in with a friend in Texas. Margaret sold everything she owned and moved to Arizona. Donald was arrested for fraud and spent 6 months in jail. The Williams empire that Victoria once controlled was gone. The family name that she valued so much was destroyed, all because of greed and cruelty. Destiny never felt sorry for them. She had given them many chances to be kind. They chose differently. One Saturday morning, Destiny woke the children early. "Get dressed. We are going somewhere special today." "Where?" Hope asked. "You will see." They drove to the cemetery in Greenwich. It was a beautiful spring day. The sun was shining. Birds were singing. Flowers were blooming. They walked through the cemetery until they reached a large headstone made of black granite. It read, "James Williams, beloved son, brother, and husband," followed by his birth date and death date. The children stood quietly in front of the grave. They had been here before, but today felt different. Destiny knelt down and touched the stone. "James, I brought our children to see you. They have grown so much. They are 9 years old now." Grace stepped forward. She placed a blue ribbon from her debate trophy on the grave. "Daddy, I am captain of the debate team. I won the state championship. I am going to be a lawyer someday. I will make you proud." Hope stepped forward next. She placed a program from her school musical on the grave. "Daddy, I love singing and acting. I performed in front of hundreds of people. I wish you could have seen me. Mama says I have your confidence." James Jr. stepped forward last. He placed a printed article about his award-winning app on the grave. "Daddy, I won a national competition for young inventors. I am learning about your company. When I grow up, I will run it. I will make it even better. I promise." Destiny's eyes filled with tears. She looked at her 3 beautiful, strong, intelligent children. "James, look at them. They are everything you hoped for. They are smart, kind, and strong. I kept my promise. I protected them. I made sure they know you loved them." She paused, then continued. "The legal battles are over. Victoria can never hurt us again. We live in your house. The children go to your school. Your company is growing. Your foundation is helping hundreds of people. Your legacy lives on through them." The children stood together, holding hands. Grace in the middle, Hope on one side, James Jr. on the other. Just like the day they walked into the lawyer's office. Hope said quietly, "Daddy, we wish you were here. Mama says you are always watching us. I hope that is true." James Jr. said, "I will take care of your company and your family. I will never let anyone hurt Mama or my sisters. I promise." Grace said, "We will never forget you. We will make you proud every day." They stood in silence for several minutes. Then Destiny stood up. She took each child's hand. "Say goodbye for now," she said gently. "Goodbye, Daddy," they said together. They walked back to the car. Destiny looked back at the grave one last time. She felt overwhelming gratitude. James protected them even after death. He knew his family's true nature. He made sure love and justice would win. As they drove away from the cemetery, James Jr. said, "Mama, do you think Daddy knows about everything that happened?" "I believe it he does, baby." "Do you think he is proud of us?" Destiny looked in the rearview mirror at her 3 children. Grace sat quietly reading a book. Hope was humming a song from her musical. James Jr. stared out the window with his father's serious green eyes. "Yes," Destiny said, I know he is proud of you. He is watching over us. He always will be." Hope leaned forward. "Mama, will we be okay forever?" "Yes, baby, we will be okay. We have each other. We have love. We have everything that truly matters." Grace closed her book. "Mama, thank you for protecting us. Thank you for fighting for us." Destiny felt tears coming. "You do not need to thank me. You are my children. I would do anything for you." "We love you, Mama," all three children said together. "I love you too, more than anything in the world." They drove home to the Greenwich mansion. The gates opened. The house stood tall and beautiful in the sunshine. This was their home, their sanctuary, their future. Inside, Maria had prepared lunch. Patricia was arranging fresh flowers in the hall. Marcus was washing the car. Anna and Rose were cleaning the library. Thomas was working in the garden. Everyone smiled when Destiny and the children came in. "Welcome home," Patricia said warmly. Home. That word meant everything. That evening, Destiny sat in James's office. She looked at his photo on the desk. She spoke to him one last time. "James, wherever you are, thank you. Thank you for loving me. Thank you for protecting our children. Thank you for knowing that love and justice matter more than blood and money. Your family tried to destroy us, but you made sure they could not. You won. Love won. Our children will grow up knowing their father was a man of integrity who valued what truly mattered." She touched the photo gently. Then she turned off the light and went to find her children. She found them in the playroom. Grace was reading to her siblings. Hope was drawing. James Jr. was building something with blocks. Destiny stood in the doorway and watched them. Three beautiful children. Smart, kind, strong. Everything James hoped they would be. This was victory. Not the money, not the mansion, not defeating Victoria in court. This moment. Her children safe, loved, and thriving. James Williams protected his family even after death. He made sure love and justice would always win. And they did. If you enjoyed today's video, I'm sure you'll love the next one. Don't waste time. Just click on the screen